Now, next of kin and orphans and poor and wayfarer, that's up to Muhammad to distribute resources to them. So that goes to Muhammad as well. So a fifth of all goods captured and more goes to God and the apostle? Nah, it goes to Muhammad. A fifth of whatever they capture comes to Muhammad. Now, in fairness to Muhammad, he didn't necessarily keep all this for himself. He did distribute some money to orphans and the poor. He did also use a lot of the money that he gathered to buy loyalty, to bribe people into converting to Islam. So he wasn't necessarily getting like super rich off this. But the point being, he used to take his money and give it to others. Now he's taking others people's money and maybe possibly giving it to the poor.
Yeah. You know, the former South African president had 14 wives, if I recall. You know, we're not supposed to criticize that because that's culture, you know, cultural. But I mean, he had 14 wives and I don't know what, 60, 70 children. And we're supposed to accept this as something that is modern and acceptable. And we're supposed to let all things be because, you know, we're tolerant and like, and this is primitive tribal behavior. And we're supposed to assume now that because Muhammad sets the example for all Muslims for eternity, whatever he does is right. It cannot be criticized. It cannot be declared to be wrong. And it's the example for all men to follow. So this example of his, I mean, it's primitive.
Indeed. If you don't like Life of Muhammad, maybe you don't even like Sahih Bukhari. Well, what about the Quran? Let's just look at what Allah says in the Quran. Thee ask thee, O Muhammad, of the spoils of war. Say, the spoils of the war belong to Allah and the Messenger. So keep your duty to Allah and adjust the matter of your difference and obey Allah and his Messenger if ye are believers. So if you're believers, know that the spoils of war belong to Allah and his Messenger. This verse in the Quran actually doesn't limit it to a fifth. So you want to reject Ibn Ashaq? Well, guess what? You just got rid of limiting Muhammad to a fifth. He can take as much of the spoils of war as he wants because it belongs to Allah and the Messenger. And Allah, well, you know, he's up in heaven. He can't enter in this world. He doesn't have any use for those resources. Yeah. They all go to Muhammad. Very generous guy, I guess.
Yeah, it belonged to Allah and the Messenger. And yeah, Muhammad's the keeper of the the spoils for the Messenger. That's crazy. I mean, how many houses did Jesus own? How many wives did he have? How many people did he personally kill or have lined up in front of him to be killed? I know atheists are now going to quote Luke 19, is it? Verse 24, where Jesus is telling a parable and they're going to say, well, you know, Jesus said, you know, no, he told a story, but, you know, but I don't recall anything like that happening that he told, okay, well, line up these people in front of me and chop their heads off from dawn till dusk with his little 6-year-old bride next to him. And this is crazy.
Yeah, Jesus says that the animals have places to live, goes through a couple animals, and he says, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Seems Jesus didn't own any property. Seems that he didn't take any spoils of war. Now, says whoever lives by the sword dies by the sword. Muhammad says, come die by the sword and get your virgins in paradise. Very stark contrast there.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
But wait, we're not done. We're not done. Lots more. And now we're really going to start laying it on thick here, unfortunately. And now I don't want Muhammad to be a horrible person. I'm not saying this. I'm just reading your sources, Muslims. So Muhammad was truthful, right? This is one of the proofs that he's a prophet. He never told a lie before he became a prophet, at least, according to the Muslims. Well, let's see what Muhammad says in Sahih Bukhari and a couple other.
Isn't that Da'if Bukhari? Because I keep getting told by Muslims it's Da'if. It's Da'if Bukhari.
Da'if Bukhari. Narrated Kulthum.
Kulthum.
She heard Allah's apostle saying, he who makes peace between the people by inventing good information or saying good things is not a liar. So, Lloyd, what do we call it in Christianity where someone invents information? Do we call that
It's called being a
telling the truth?
screenwriter and working in Hollywood.
Well, okay, that's true. But
Oh, you
if
mean
you know that
context? You
it's
mean
good,
context here. So not fiction. So you don't mean people who create fiction. You mean, oh, people who are telling lies.
mm-hmm,
So someone who
mm-hmm.
tells nice lies, sweet lies, is not lying.
So, for example, if I were to lie and say that Muhammad was the greatest man to ever live, that would not be lying according to Islam because I'm inventing good information. If I tell a story about Muhammad that I just made up off the top of my head, let's say, do you remember the time that Muhammad found $100 bill lying on the ground and he said, "Who here does this belong to?" And four people raised their hands. So he took $300 bills out of his wallet and gave all four of them $100. Don't you remember that great story about Muhammad? Guess what? I am not a liar because I invented good information. I
Yes.
invented good sayings. All those people who invented good hadith about Muhammad, they're not liars. They're good people,
Yeah, they're
according to Muhammad.
forwarding they're promoting Islam, and therefore what they're doing is good. And if you bring peace, notice in order to bring peace between people, I mean, I've gone into we've done this before, discussing the Sharia, and it states that if there's friction between people, or disputes, or arguments, or debate, and you can invent information that brings peace, that ends this dispute, then you are not a liar. So in other words, a Muslim who's trying to end an argument or a dispute or a debate by lying earns reward, because this is, according to Islam, this is the truth. This is good. So he can lie to you to end any dispute, like a theological dispute, and we have those with Muslims. But if they lie to you to end the dispute, then this is, we love Jesus too. We worship Jesus too. We follow Jesus too. That's a lie, but in Islam, that is not a lie. They define lies differently. Their moral system is inverted compared to ours. Is that what we're saying, Thaddeus?
Yes, yes, and we'll have a couple more examples of this. So now that's just theoretical, right? That first one's just theoretical. Let's see how that works in practice, according to Muhammad, also from Da'if Bukhari, sorry. Allah's messenger said, "Who is willing to kill Ka'b bin al-Ashraf, who has hurt Allah and his apostles?" So this guy insulted Muhammad, right? Ka'b insulted Muhammad.
Yeah.